Jó reggelt, csókolom, jó reggelt mindenkinek. Igen, mindig lehet.
Itt az a várakozás, hogy ezen a héten egyfajta áttörést szeretnék a 90 milliárdos lánccsomaggal kapcsolatban. Hogy látja, mik a várakozások, hiszen Magyarország szereplő ebben a kérdésben, és ehhez kapcsolódik természetesen már ez inkább ugye a energiatanácsnak irányában, hogy hogy áll éppen a váltság körülvezeték.
Ja, a helyzet teljesen egyértelmű. Az ukránok gyakorlatilag hülyének próbálnak nézni minket. Egy dolgot viszont elfelejtenek, hogy mi nem a hülyék vagyunk, hanem a magyarok. Tehát szombaton az ukrán rendszerüzemeltető bemondta, hogy egy hónapba telik előreláthatólag a barátságkőolajvezeték megjavítása. Na most mi van egy hónap múlva? A magyar választás utáni hétfő. Tehát, hogyha valaki eddig naívan azt gondolta volna, hogy az ukránoknak bármifajta műszaki vagy technikai problémájuk van, az most már... What are you trying? Tehát, okay. That's okay. It's a hard job, I see. It's a hard job. Yeah, okay. You okay now? Good, okay. Tehát, ha bárki eddig azt gondolta, hogy az ukránoknak bármifajta műszaki vagy technikai problémájuk van, az most megbizonyosodhatott arról, hogy itt ez egy szintiszta politikai zsarolás. A barátságkőolajvezeték fizikailag és technikailag is készen áll a szállítás újraindítására. Semmifajta műszaki vagy technikai probléma nincsen. Úgy volt, hogy a mai napon 3 oldalú egyeztetés lesz a szlovák energiaminiszter, az ukrán energiaminiszter és köztem, de az ukránok erre ma nem hajlandók itt Brüsszelben sem. Azok után, hogy 3,5 napon keresztül a magyar energiaminisztériumi delegáció miniszterhelyettes vezetésével ott volt Kyivben, minden létező találkozási kérelmet visszautasítottak, nem voltak hajlandók tárgyalni velünk ebben az ügyben, ma nem hajlandók tárgyalni itt Brüsszelben, visszautasították az Európai Unió megfigyelőinek és ellenőreinek helyszínre utazását is, tehát a napnál világosabb, az ukránok kizárólag politikai okok miatt nem indítják újra a vezeték szállítását, műszakilag, fizikailag minden készen áll. Mi megvédjük magunkat, 86 napnyi tartalékunk van még, mert jól gazdálkodunk, és emellett féken tartjuk a benzinárakat is, tehát mi megvédjük magunkat, de azt mindenki vésse a fejébe, hogy az ukránok így viselkednek velünk.
Ebből következik az, hogy Magyarország blokkolja a 90 milliárdot?
Ja igen, természetesen. Tehát a mi álláspontunk az sziklaszilárd is, meg egyszerű is, meg szerintem jól érthető. Tehát mindaddig, amíg az ukránok szórakoznak velünk, mindaddig, amíg az ukránok politikai okok miatt nem indítják újra az olajszállítást, mindaddig, amíg az ukránok Magyarországon olajellátási válságot akarnak előállítani, addig szóba se jöhet. Sem a 90 milliárd eurós hadikölcsönnek a megszavazása, sem bármi más Ukrajna számára nyújtandó pénzügyi támogatásnak a megszavazása, sem a 20. szankciós csomag, az EU-s tagságok meg amúgy is felejtsék el, úgyhogy így állunk. Yeah, it's very important. Don't underestimate, because this is a country. We absolutely reject and condemn this decision of the European Union. This is insane. That in case a patriotic party wins elections, then the European Union considers democracy in danger. Don't call us stupid, okay? So we see it very, very easily. If patriots win an election, then the European Union says that the democracy is dead. If liberals win the election, democracy is in top form. So it's so obvious. We are on the side of the Georgians. We are looking forward to receive the Prime Minister and the Foreign Minister during the weekend in Budapest on CPAC, and the Georgian government can count on us on everything. And we really respect your patriotic policies. Sorry.
Do you think this attitude prevents relations from being over, sanctions, talking about sanctions?
Well, I can tell you that overall the sanction policy of the European Union is a big failure. It's a huge failure. And we should forget about it, finally. So please, just 1 second. There's a follow-up and then it's your... Please.
How do you estimate the Georgian journalists in the prison and also politicians in the prison and people are standing in the streets fighting for European values?
Well, I don't know. No. I don't know anything about the issue what you stated in the first part of your question. Regarding the second part, there were democratic elections in Georgia, and people decided about what direction they want to their country to take. And the case and the fact that there are rallies, well, that's part of democracy. And as long as rallies can take place, it means that there's a democracy.
So you
So
have
it's one more
information about
decision made by the EU,
No.
one more decision or opinion made by the EU that you criticize. And I cannot remember when was the last time that Hungary actually agreed to what the majority in Europe thinks. The Polish Prime Minister yesterday said that Hungary is trying to destroy the European Union. Do you agree?
Well, first of all, we really expected the Polish Prime Minister to come to Hungary yesterday, because there were two big rallies in Hungary. One organized or in favor of the government and one against the government. And 4 years ago, on the very same day, on our national day, the current Polish Prime Minister came to Hungary and he held a speech at the opposition rally. And following that, we beat the opposition by 20%. So we were really disappointed that he didn't come yesterday. He was making a he was sorry. He was making yesterday nice statements about our opposition. He was making statements that he wishes that opposition wins. He should come. So please try to convince him to come in the remaining 4 weeks until elections, because whenever he comes, it's a very good signal to us. And when it comes to his words about Hungary, the democracy, and our commitment to Europe, well, I think that the Hungarian democracy is in a much better shape than the one in Poland. The rule of law is in a much bigger danger in Poland than in Hungary. That's my position.
But what about Europe?
Sorry, I didn't get it.
William Szijjártó, Ukraine's deputy prime
Oh, yeah,
minister,
yeah.
and what will you do if they continue to resist your...
Yeah, I said it in Hungarian. Sorry, I should have said it in English as well. So the thing is the following, that it has become really obvious that there's no technical or no physical reason for the oil supply not to be restarted to Hungary on the Druzhba Pipeline. It's a pure political decision. We had the delegation of our Ministry of Energy in Kyiv 3.5 days during the last week. So a delegation led by our Deputy Minister of Energy spent 3.5 days in Kyiv personally to be able to meet officials of the Ukrainian government and the Ukrainian Ministry of Energy. But all our requests have been rejected. Today, with the Slovak colleagues, we have initiated a trilateral meeting here in Brussels with the Ukrainian Minister of Energy and the Slovak Minister of Energy and myself. But this was cancelled again by the Ukrainians just a couple of minutes ago. There were initiatives taken by us, by the Slovaks, even by the European Union, to allow a site visit to see the actual state of the pipeline. All of these proposals were rejected. So, you know, I can't tell you anything, but if a country keeps us under an oil blockade, then that given country cannot expect us to support any decisions here in Brussels in favor of them. That's the case.
Are you hoping for movement on the transport of Russia?
Look, the situation is the following. It is our sovereign right to decide what kind of energy sources we want to buy and on what route or what direction. And we don't want to become defenseless towards one pipeline when it comes to oil deliveries. We don't want to be in a situation when it is exclusively Croatia supplying us, because you never want to be in a situation when you are dependent by one source. Currently, we are supplied on two routes, the Druzhba Pipeline and the Janov Pipeline, which is an acceptable and, you know, I might say close to ideal situation to us. But, I mean, if you are only dependent on one pipeline instead of two, that's a no-go for us. So regardless of all the commercial debates, we have to make one step back. And we have to make it very clear that we are not ready. We are absolutely not ready to be dependent on one pipeline. Okay?
Minister, you're expecting a discussion at the
Sorry.
European Council on this? And if so, do you see any room for a compromise on the 90 billion?
On the?
On the 90 billion?
Yeah, well, it's very simple. Very simple. As long as we are under oil blockade, we're not going to agree with that decision. Please? Sorry, I'm sorry for Europe, right?
Hungary trying to destroy European Union, and what do you think? Is Poland facing a pole exit?
We are in favor of European Union to be strong again. what we see now is a weakening of the European Union. Brussels has been weakening European Union very badly in the recent years. There must be a big political shift in Brussels from extreme liberal to patriotic, and if this takes place, then European Union will be strong again. We want European Union to be strong, but currently European Union is weak. European Union is losing significance, both in global politics and global economy. That's how we see. That's a strong debate between us and the Polish government, but
Is Polexit a good thing? Because
Sorry?
is Polexit a
What
good
is
thing?
Polexit?
But Poland leaving EU, because there are many Polish politicians who want to leave the EU now.
you can decide that. I'm not a Polish. You know, I'm really fed up.
Hungary is not
Sorry.
planning.
No, we are not. We are not planning to leave the European Union. Of course, we are not. Why would we? But you know, who did say that?
There are many politicians in Poland who want to
You know,
leave.
the thing is that I'm Hungarian, and it's well above my payroll to make comments on. Yeah, but I mean, okay, but this is the fact. Okay, there are politicians here in Europe who really love to comment on domestic issues of other countries. They really love to be smart enough, or think that they are smart enough, to tell others what to think and what to do. But I'm afraid I'm not smart enough to decide about the future of Poland instead of the Polish. So I leave it to you. I leave it to your people. And yeah, of course, no question. Sorry, Sultan. So first you were here, and then utána parancsolj. So.
The Belgian Prime Minister is saying that he wants a normalization of the relationship with Russia. Do you agree with the Belgian Prime Minister?
The Belgian Prime Minister says that. Well, I think that normalization of the European-Russian relationship would be a really great step forward, because currently what is happening is going nowhere. So, you know, blocking the channels of communication means that the hope for peace is being given up. And if there are more and more who say that the channels of communication should be open, the more satisfied or the more hopeful we can be.
Do you see Belgium as a partner then?
Well, I'll talk to the foreign minister today, because so far it didn't seem to me that they are representing that position, or at least not on the foreign ministers' council. But if there's a shift, then it can be positive. Just 1 second, there was another one, and then I come back to you.
Formális dialógust Moszkvával, ugye nem lehet azzal vádolni, hogy nem csinálna, de többi országban nem így van. Lát arra esélyt, hogy ez meg fog történni?
Hát először is jó reggelt kívánok. 4 éve mondjuk ezt, hogy ha a kommunikációs csatornákat elzárjuk, hogyha nincsen diplomáciai kapcsolattartás, akkor a háború befejezésének a reményét adjuk fel. A kommunikációs csatornák, a diplomáciai csatornák nyitva tartása tudja jelenteni azt, hogy van remény végre a békére. Úgyhogy hát ha most vissza tudna térni a józan észhez az európai mainstream, az remek lenne. Yes. I come closer because then I don't disturb.
Russia is supporting Ukraine.
Sorry?
Russia is supporting Iran. And Ukraine asked to support the Gulf countries and the region with a drone. Russia is getting benefits from the oil prices. How you see this Iran conflict changing the dynamics concerning the relationship with Russia, taking into consideration what our colleagues said?
Okay.
Some countries start to ask for normalization.
Yeah. So my position is the following: the war around Iran and the war in the let's say Gulf region poses a huge challenge of global crisis of oil supplies. And in this regard, I think the best move is what the Americans have made, to lift the sanctions on oil deliveries regarding Russia. Because if you look at the issue from European perspective, 2 major oil sources, the Arab world and Russia, are being blocked from Europe. And this means that Europe will suffer huge losses, and will be faced with terrible economic challenges unless the quantity of oil flowing to the European continent can be increased. And we don't have any influence on what is going on in the Gulf area, but we have an influence on whether the Russian oil can return to Europe, because this is just our decision. I mean, Brussels' decision. So that's why we think that the best decision would be to lift the sanctions on the Russian energy sources, let Russian oil come back to Europe. With this, we can moderate the price, and with this, we can avoid a risk or a crisis of the security of supply.
So you welcome the Belgian Prime Minister's words?
Again? Well, I'm sorry, I would be happy to welcome it if I had read it or read those. I did not read those, so I just know his words through your interpretation. But if he thinks that the channels of communication with Russia should be open, if relationship with Russia should be normalized, if he said that, then I agree.
Then Belgium is a partner of Hungary.
That's what I can tell you. Well, you can paraphrase it in any other way. We don't let ourselves be influenced by the Belgians or by anyone else. We have our position. Our position is that the channels of communication and the diplomatic channels must be open with Russia. We have to negotiate with Russia because the policy or the political strategy so far by the European Union has failed. So we have to make a turnaround or a change, a shift. And with this, I think that if the Belgian Prime Minister would like to reopen channels of communication with Russia, then welcome. Good morning. After 4 years, that was really high time for that.
Minister, we have a question on us.
Sorry.
May I have a question? The President of Ukraine, Zelensky, told that Russia could earn up to $10 billion from oil if sanctions will decrease. How do you feel that this money go to the war in Ukraine?
I look at it from Hungarian perspective and not from Russian perspective. The Hungarian perspective is that we would like to keep the prices under control. We don't want to pay more for the energy. We want cheap sources, and there can be no realistic explanation why we should buy more expensive oil compared to what we are doing now. So what we pay to Russia is 0.2% of Russian GDP, so no one can mean seriously that would make a change.
But are you worried about war? How do you feel
we have been worrying about the war for more than 4 years now because it's in our neighborhood, and to be honest, I don't understand why Brussels has been undermining all attempts to make peace in Ukraine finally.
Just very quickly on Aspides, if I may, Minister, would you support...
De nem magyarul tetszik kérdezni.
Hát magyarul is lehet, de ez inkább egy nemzetközi kérdés.
Csak már megfigyeltem, hogy tetszik beszélni magyarul.
Igen. Would you support expanding the mandate of Aspides so that there would also be an EU operation in the Strait of Hormuz?
Well, it's in a very initial phase, so we have to discuss it. Okay.
It's a NATO operation or
European operation? I didn't say anything like that. I didn't say anything like that because there was no proposal on the table yet. If there's a proposal, we can speak about it, but I can't tell you any decision yet.
But there is a proposal from Mr. Trump.
We'll see.
He said we need it in NATO.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.